Rich Paul want Anthony Davis traded by next week. He ain't waiting to the trade deadline. He want AD gone now. Now, the big question is, what team would be willing to take a broken down medical bill Anthony Davis? His trade value might not be that high, but I guarantee you somebody gonna pick him up. I do think this move is necessary. The Mavericks is all in on Cooper Flag. You might as well start all the way over. And I'm hearing Kyrie might not play until next season as well. So looks like the Mavericks about to go into tank mode. To be honest, I could see him going to the Warriors if they desperate enough. They need something. But do you really take that risk with Steph Curry still playing at a high level, and you don't really know how many games you're going to get from AD, and you don't know what all you're going to need to trade to get AD? I don't know where he going to go, but one thing I do know, whoever trades for him, you're going to have a lot on your hands, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing, man. Y'all let me know in the comments where you think he's going.
Davis's agent, Rich Paul, made it clear he wants NBA fans, get ready for Anthony Davis to get traded. Anthony Davis's agent, Rich Paul, made it clear he wants Anthony Davis traded before next week's deadline. Oh my goodness, Mr. Dunleavy, pick up the phone and go get Anthony Davis, ladies and gentlemen, is on the way. Oh my goodness!
Anthony Davis has demanded a trade. It's not an official demand, but Rich Paul, Anthony Davis's agent, has made it clear to the Mavericks that he wants Anthony Davis traded within the next week. And like Mike Dunleavy said regarding Kuminga, if you demand a trade, there has to be demand for you on the market. And obviously, Anthony Davis has way more value than Kuminga does, but I just made a video on how bad his time with Dallas really was. And on top of the countless games he's missed as a Maverick, he just got injured again, in an injury that will keep him out past the trade deadline, so plummeting his value to near nothing. So now you demand a trade from a team who has already been aggressively pursuing trade talks around you, but your trade value has been so low that it's hard to make a trade work for the Mavericks. And from everything I've seen, Anthony Davis should return in time for the playoffs, so there is still slight value if a team like the Warriors, who just lost Jimmy Butler to an ACL, makes a trade out of desperation to try to compete with Steph Curry. So we'll just have to see what happens in the next few weeks leading up to the trade deadline.
Anthony Davis has been faking his injury this entire time, and Rich Paul just confirmed it. So Rich Paul made it clear to the Mavs that Anthony Davis wants to be traded, and we all know why he wants to be traded. Anthony Davis is always hurt, but he's been really consistent over the last couple of years on telling the organizations that he played for that he don't want to play center. This was the reason in the first place why he got traded from LA to Dallas, because Dallas had Derek Lively, who was going to be a great center so where AD could play the 4 spot. But now Derek Lively got hurt, and ever since he's been hurt, Anthony Davis has been in and out the lineup. So what trade makes sense for Anthony Davis? I think he goes here. Going to Cleveland makes so much sense on both sides. It's probably going to be for one or two of these guys. We all understand that Darius Garland is a guy that's probably going to get traded as well. You can elevate Lonzo to the starting point guard, have Anthony Davis play the 4, and their defense is that much better. Now, if both of these guys are going to be in a trade package, Dallas is probably going to have to give up somebody like Caleb Martin or whoever else they got to make the deal work. But if the Cleveland deal doesn't work out, I can see New York putting their hat in the trade market, trying to do a Karl-Anthony Towns trade, and then you can have Mitchell Robinson play the 5. Or maybe even the Clippers with Zubac at the 5. That may not work out, but I can see why Anthony Davis wants to leave. You had Jason Kidd experimenting with Cooper Flag at the point guard spot. Derek Lively goes down with injuries. If I'm Anthony Davis, I want to leave too, man. What y'all think about this? Anthony Davis has been faking his injury this entire time, and Rich Paul just confirmed it.
At some point, we have to take accountability, bro. Don't play. You put yourself in these situations. Did we know you were getting traded? No. But you still got a great supporting cast around you, bro. But you can't stay on the floor. Granted, Kyrie has not been there, but Cooper is showing that he's very promising in this league. And PJ Washington, everybody on the bench, not bad. So why do you want to leave? Where will you go? But, like, where do we send you? Because at the end of the day, when do you become an asset for a team? When you're not on the floor. But we can say that about multiple superstars. But in the same token, bro, you have to play. You can't demand everything and just not play. So I don't know, bro. It's just starting to get frustrating, you know? But it's Leo.
What you mean? You're not gonna get another all-star for Anthony Davis. Absolutely not. But you'll definitely get a couple. Bro, if I can get a CJ McCollum and a Corey Kispert for a Trae Young,
CJ McCollum has been consistently playing.
My point exactly. CJ McCollum's been consistent. Corey Crispin, I haven't really seen much of him, but I know he came out of college and he was supposed to. What you mean? You're not gonna get another all-star for Anthony Davis. Absolutely not. But you'll definitely get a couple. Bro, if I can get a CJ McCollum and a Corey Kispert for a Trae Young.
CJ McCollum has been consistently playing.
My point exactly. CJ McCollum's been consistent. Corey Kispert, I haven't really seen much of him, but I know he came out of college and he was supposed to be a good role player, not like an all-star, but a good role player. He can shoot threes. My point that I'm making is if you can get that for a Trae Young, who we already was seeing starting to fall in value based upon the fact he wasn't doing what he wasn't doing Trae Young things. He came back, turnovers, left and right. So if I can get a trade like that with a Trae Young, yeah, I can definitely get something for Anthony Davis.
All right, everybody. So the Dallas Mavericks are having trouble in paradise. Yeah, I know. Who would have thought the team that decided to trade their #1 franchise player after a long journey of not having anything good outside of Dirk happen to our franchise, that they wanted to trade Luka Doncic. So then they bring Anthony Day-to-Day Davis into the fold. Yeah, I said Day-to-Day Davis because my boy is strictly day-to-day. But that's not just me. That's how a lot of Maverick fans feel. And then for him to go down with a pinky or a finger injury and end up in a sling, how is this even possible? So let's dive into Anthony Davis, what's going on, the trade situation, and where to expect us to go from here. I'm your host, Lot. Strap up, lock in, let's go.
Yeah, smash that like button. Yeah, you in the building right now. What up, Lockbox ENT, smash the like button. Yeah, hey, Lockbox ENT in the cut. Turn me up, hold up. Subscribe real quick, yeah. Hit that bell, don't miss shit, yeah. We dropping heat, no cap, no bluff. Lockbox ENT, we up next. What's up? Smash the like if you with the gang. Yeah. Coming fire if you feel the same. Yeah. Hold up. One more time for the people in the back. Lockbox Nation, smash the like button. Yeah. Lockbox in, we out.
This entire time, and Rich Paul just confirmed it.
At some point, we have to take accountability, bro. You don't play. You put yourself in these situations. Did we know you were getting traded? But you still got a great supporting cast around you, bro. But you can't stay on the floor. Granted, Kyrie has not been there, but Cooper is showing that he's very promising in this league. And PJ Washington, everybody on the bench, not bad. So why do you want to leave? Where will you go?
Yes, we are back. All right. So with all this, like I say, we have Anthony Davis, we have Rich Paul going on tours, and we have a lot of people with a lot of perspective and thoughts on Anthony Davis and how the Dallas Mavericks should maneuver moving Anthony Davis, and likely that we get him into a destination that he wants to be, at least someplace other than Dallas, who can pay him what he's looking for. Because the Dallas Mavericks, it is not in our future for us to spend so much time and medical resources to get Anthony Davis where he needs to be. We are past that stage. So I know what you're thinking. How do we get here? Anthony Davis goes down against the Utah Jazz with a finger injury. And he ends up in an arm sling for the finger injury and rumors about him needing surgery, according to Shams. But then AD claps back to silence the haters on X. Don't believe everything that you're hearing. And it turns out, with going for a second opinion, he will not need surgery, but he will still be out for a little bit of time. But they ain't got no videos on this stuff. All right, first I'm gonna give you what should have been. I know.
Maverick star Anthony Davis will not need surgery on his left hand after getting a second opinion, and he will be reevaluated in 6 weeks. Earlier Tuesday on ESPN, they reported that AD would likely require surgery and miss a few months. However, teams are reportedly still interested in Davis in the trade market. Davis...
Imagine not needing surgery, but somebody close to your camp or in the Dallas Maverick organization could not do enough due diligence to keep their mouth shut. And then you got to deal with all the backlash. AD, I know that this is eating them up, right? It is what it is, though.
Of course, pushed back, tweeting, quote, "Y'all better stop listening to these lies on these apps." End quote. The trade deadline, I know it, is coming up on February.
I was set on X. See, is he talking about anything today on X? So I'm looking at it right now. Y'all better stop listening to these apps. We have to fight at UFC 318. He's talking about NCAA. Okay, so he made enough time to come and respond to that. However, he hasn't said anything about his hand, when we should expect to see him back. I don't know, man. It's tough.
3/5. Let's bring in Sam Quinn and John Gonzalez. Good to see the two of you, fellas. His agent, Rich Paul, is pushing Dallas to move Anthony Davis before the deadline. Dallas says they're not going to be bullied, and AD is now sidelined with that wrist injury. So, John, what is your first reaction?
Chat, do y'all want to keep AD?
Anthony Davis was heated, Katie. Lies. He said lies with an exclamation
Would you
point.
trade him
He's never been
if we
healthy,
could
right?
get something worth having back?
Anthony Davis taking umbrage with somebody saying that he might need season-ending surgery because he's had literally hundreds of injuries in his career. If you look at just the injuries he's had this season, it comes out, you have to unspool it like the Dead Sea Scrolls. It will roll across the floor. I mean, he'll be 33 in March, right? He's only played his time with the Mavericks. He's only played 29 out of a possible 73 total games for the Mavericks. He only played 51 combined games last season. Now we have this thing in the NBA where you need to reach a 65 game threshold to be.
I mean, can I be real with y'all? I'm pretty sure it's more Dallas Mavericks supporters who have went to more games than Anthony Davis has been present at to even play.
Eligible for postseason awards. He's only cleared that bar one time in the last 8 seasons. So I understand that he wasn't thrilled with the report here, but I guess the media should be forgiven that they got out ahead of this because he's Anthony Davis and he's constantly hurt.
Yeah.
Bro, he's been with us for 2 years, and these are all the stats that they can produce for him.
When you said he's never been healthier, I thought in my head, healthy? What is healthy when we look at AD? Let's talk about real leverage here. Davis is hurt. Dallas is 11th or 12th or so in the West, and he's staring at a massive contract extension window this summer. So, Sam, based on everything that we do know, how likely is it that AD actually gets traded before February 5th?
Well, how badly does he want that contract extension, right?
Come on, put him in the chat. Let me know. How likely is Anthony Davis to be traded before the trade deadline? What players do you want back? And even if you can't make the deal work, still drop what player is he worth getting back? Because y'all know they out here trying to juice us. I need to know.
That's why Rich Paul is pushing for this, because I don't think it would be responsible for anybody to extend Anthony Davis right now. His current contract goes through his age 34 season. Are you paying him when he's 35, 36? That seems really irresponsible given that injury history that John laid out. Already making supermax money right now. If there is a team out there that is willing to give him an extension, I'm willing to bet that Rich Paul will
last week
do everything in his power to make that trade happen. I don't know that a trade exists, which makes this sort of complicated, right? I don't know what his trade value is in a world in which we don't know when he's coming back this year, and we don't know what to expect from him moving forward because we never know what to expect from him. I think if Rich Paul had his way, the Mavericks would just trade him to whoever would take him, right? Like, is there a cap dump trade out there? Is there something like the Trae Young trade made with Washington? Since there isn't one out
Wait a minute. I don't agree with that. No, don't.
right now, I'll put it around 50-50. Somebody would have to give up value to convince Dallas to get off him because even though he might not play again this year, the Mavericks could bring him back next year and say, you know what? We'll get a high draft pick this year. You're going to be out. We can tank in peace. Then bring back Kyrie and AD and try to win next year. So that's the leverage for Dallas. It's not about, oh, can we generate a bidding war? It's, can anybody give us an offer that makes it?
Well, see, and that's another thing that I was saying. Nico made this bed for us. Technically, it's not necessarily a bad bed. It's just, it needs new sheets. We got to wash the pillowcases. So some of this stuff takes a little time for everything to be clicking. I understand us wanting to get rid of AD. However, if we're not going to get anything back of value that we can plug in, then we might as well sit on it because teams will only be desperate. And if he actually gets healthy going into next season, we'll just have a setup to where we're not overplaying him. We'll just be managing minutes.
Just believe, yeah, this makes more sense than just keeping him and trying again in a year. I think it's around 50-50, could go either way.
Yeah, I'm with Sam here. I mean, like, it's hard for me to imagine a deal where somebody goes, oh, you know what I would like? 33 in March, Anthony Davis, who's constantly hurt and never available. And oh, by the way, we have to pay him $54 million this season, $58 million next season. And he's got a player option on the back end for $62 million. Yeah, Rich Paul, of course he's pushing hard for a trade because he wants that next deal, because he knows, like we all know, that Anthony Davis is only intermittently available, so they'd rather get
say
money
it like that.
Now, if you Sam was talking about, okay, maybe there's a cap dump situation out there. Atlanta has been one of those teams that's been linked to being interested in Anthony Davis. Maybe the Mavs go and trade for, say, expiring contracts like Kristaps Porzingis and Luke Kennard. You could get something like $42 million in expiring contracts off of that. Beyond that, I can't see why anybody would be eager and running towards the Mavericks and saying, yes, please, we'll take Anthony Davis off of your hand, given his long injury history, his age, and that odious contract.
Well, when you say it like that, John, I don't know either, but let's take a deeper dive into it. We have heard names like the Hawks, the Raptors, Bucks, even the Warriors, plus some wild Charlotte and Clippers ideas that I have seen. But, John, when you look at the fits,
I haven't heard the Clippers or the Hornets ideas.
which landing spot actually makes the most basketball sense, both for AD and Dallas?
Yeah, you mentioned the Hornets. I'll let Sam go with that one. That's his pet project there, and it's kind of interesting too. We've mentioned again, Atlanta is one of those
The
situations.
Hornets?
where he's
Are they
been
trying to pair Con Knipple Cooper?
Swap him out for CJ McCollum
Thinking.
and Corey Crispert. I don't think it's quite that bad for Anthony Davis, but I do think that it would take some maneuvering here. Maybe it is, as I mentioned, just expiring contracts like Kristaps Porzingis and Luke Kennard, where all of a sudden the Mavs want to try to duck the tax.
Man, what happened to the interest in Denny Avdia? Like, can we get that back on the table, Mavs? Like, come on. Can y'all work on that for us? Shout out to Phil Handy, too.
And they'd be happy to do that. Maybe it's a situation like the Brooklyn Nets. They have their pick this year, but they owe it to Houston next year, so they don't have any real incentive to tank next season. So maybe they take a
Pelicans.
flyer on them. I'm not sure.
Do
what
we
to
still want Herb
interest
Jones?
Anybody in a Pelicans reunion? Do you want to do maybe a swap with Zion Williamson? The whole point here, Katie, and I think Sam would probably be in agreement with me here, is I hate all of these options, and I don't want, if I'm another team, any part of Anthony Davis.
Yeah, the only fit I really like is the Charlotte Hornets. I know it's out there. I know it's from left field. Just hear me out. The Hornets have Dallas's 2027 first-round pick. That makes them ideal trade partners. There are no more valuable first-round picks than your own. They're the only ones that you can control. Since the beginning of December, Charlotte has had a top 5 offense with them.
Hold on, let's see. So we get Miles Bridges. But didn't they say Miles Bridges was a little bit of a problem child? Josh Green. We get Josh Green back. No. Grant Williams. Bruh. Say hear him out. No. And they get Clay.
Melo Ball, Con Knipple.
No. Chat. I refuse for this deal to fly. Looks like to me, Anthony B. Hizon is staying here in Dallas for a little while longer. And that contract that he's looking for might not be hitting. What they say, the math might not be mathing no more. Until next time, tap in so you can be back in. And who knows what else we'll talk about. If you got anything specific that you want to hear about, drop it in the comments. Let me know. Tap in so you can be back in. Until next time, fam, always shoot your shot like a shooter. We out. Holla.
Shots fired! Shots fired!